Can government crack down on cryptocurrency? Can they stop it?
So I don't think it can be stopped. I think the issues government has is always trying to ensure that they're staying on the forefront of innovation while trying to negate the issues and fears that they have with the new technologies causing trouble for them. So it's a balance. And in a global economy, you have countries around the world, and those that embrace it and those that are going to look to bring it forward in ways that can still be potentially cautious, but don't stifle it, are going to be the ones that are going to win out at the end of the day, because they're the ones that are going to be creating new jobs, new sectors, new industries, new ideas are going to come from that. And to shut things down or to add it, we have to be very fearful and we can't let this happen. It's going to have consequences. So the countries that do that aspect may find they start falling behind, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot potentially by doing that. So there's somewhere in the middle there, something has to be done to understand the fears that the governments have, be able to tackle those fears without quashing the technology. And sometimes it's a difficult thing to do, but it's about learning and understanding. A lot of times governments don't really understand things and understand what's coming. It can't be shut down. You understand that this will be the future. It is coming. Now it's how you're going to adapt to what's coming instead of being fearful and trying to just shut things down and using a hammer to do that. And those that want to listen or those that want to talk about it, that's where I'm always encouraged to have discussions about is let's have the discussion. Let's talk about your fears. Why is it that you're concerned or maybe going down a certain direction of regulation? And is there an alternative problem solving method we can do to try to figure out how to still make sure your fears don't come to realization, but also allowing the technologies and ecosystems to flourish so that you as a country are going to be able to provide new jobs, new sectors, new growth, all these different things that countries and governments want. So I think there's a balance to do that. And that's where I'm always excited to talk and have discussions about. It's not about get rid of it. It's not about completely let it just go wild out there. There has to be somewhere there that has to be massaged in a way that's going to work for everybody. And
but people, some people in government, many people in government, heads of government, fear the cryptocurrencies. They're scared of the cryptocurrencies. It provides a serious threat to fiat.
And I think that's anything that's being driven by fear, I don't think is going to have the outcome that somebody wants. I think education, understanding and learning and really delving into the root causes and problems of the fear, and then working with people that are willing to bring about alternative solutions or ideas to get discussions going. Because I really believe that anything that's fear-based is really not the right approach for things. And it's really not going to end up in a good situation for anybody when you're being driven by fear.
I've been covering this space for a long time. We usually talk about Bitcoin versus gold. Now I'm hearing a lot of chatter of Bitcoin versus Ethereum and how Ethereum would outperform Bitcoin, or should we go into a higher interest rate environment, et cetera, et cetera. And with the advent of NFTs and DeFi, that Ethereum, could it possibly surpass Bitcoin?
If you're asking me that, I think it's definitely possible. I'm not going to say one way or the other. I think it has a great chance to do it just because of the scale and scope and the amount of different sectors and impact that it can have. I love Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin in 2012. Everything that I was doing back in the day was around Bitcoin, getting people together, setting up physical locations where groups could come together and ideas could start going. And it was all around Bitcoin. And then with Ethereum, it's like, well, there's more than Bitcoin out here. And then with Ethereum, it's like, there's more than just Ethereum. And I'm a very staunch supporter of the ecosystem as a whole.
Right.
And I'm not this versus that, or I'm all for this and not for that. It's whatever provides value to people and solves people's problems. And competition is amazing, and competition makes projects get better. And the better products that are out there, the better they're serving people's problems and serving people. And I'm all for that, and I'm all for innovation. So whether or not it's Ethereum, whether or not it's Bitcoin or something else that comes down the road, it's generally going to happen because it's providing an amazing service or value for people and solving problems. So whatever that's going to be, I welcome that.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Most people I interview in this space are saying you need to get out of the system, you need to get out of the banks. Obviously, cryptocurrencies provide that alternative. So when you say banks still have value, can you expand on that? Because
sure,
I think that's really interesting.
Well, let's look at how banks came about to begin with. They came about because you had these people that were walking around with valuable assets at the time, and they would get robbed. They would have problems. And banks were set up to be able to create a safe storage place for people's wealth that could be safe, and they could feel comfortable that it's in there and someone's protecting it, right? That's just that's how services emerge and value it, and entrepreneurs come about. Is here's a problem. The problem is that we're having cases where people are being robbed, or people don't feel comfortable holding their money in their homes. So a bank would be set up in order to create a safe place for people to have their money managed. And then from there, the banks realized they could start lending out that money and leveraging it and doing different things. But over time, these types of systems end up maybe overstepping what it is they started out with. And over time, because of the way these operate, and because of the way that the profits need to be brought in, it starts ending up in situations, and this is like a cycle, where people feel they're not being served. They feel that I don't have interest that I'm being paid now, which I used to get for holding my money in the bank. And what's the purpose of doing that? And the services that they come up with maybe are not forward thinking, and people feel, hey, I don't like this. And when people aren't happy with things, ideas start thinking, how could it be made better? And really, Bitcoin came out of the deficiencies in the financial institution. It came into the deficiencies of government currencies. It came in with the inadequacies of printing money and printing to infinity, instead of having sound money, which is what Bitcoin has kind of brought to the space, with properties of a digital technology that is global, that can send from one person to another instantly across the world, instead of having to send from country to country with these limited currencies from one region to another. And it really was a technology solution to a problem, and a philosophical and principled solution to a problem that's existed for a long time, and that people were questioning, especially after the housing crisis, the financial crisis that happened in 2008. It was a perfect time for Bitcoin to come about.
Let me ask you this, Anthony, because some would argue, well, gold is sound money. Why wasn't gold able to fill that role? That is it the technological component that it doesn't have?
Yeah, I think it's the digital side of things. And you have situations now where gold can be, it can be held in one location, and you can actually create a digital asset tied to the gold and do that. But it wasn't just about what gold is very hard to transport. Okay. Gold, it has its own issues as well. And I'm a gold fan too. I mean, everything can have value for somebody in certain circumstances. I got into gold and silver back in 2011. Didn't do well that year. I think it went down 25% that year. But when Bitcoin came along, I took my technology background, I took my economics background, I took my business background, and it was a perfect storm for me to understand it, understand the decentralized nature of it, understand the properties that it has, and the way that technology can help provide a better, efficient system. And I just got it right away. So it has features and has things that gold can't really do right now, but it doesn't mean that gold doesn't have a lot of other uses that Bitcoin doesn't have. I mean, you're not making jewelry out of Bitcoin right now. So everything it's not a black and white situation. Things are going to have value. Things are going to have more value depending on who the person is.
And so do you still own gold and silver today?
I have a little bit of gold and silver.
Okay.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.